I went 3-0 with this deck, so I need to make a deck profile about it. With step 4 out, we have new contenders joining the clash. This is Genesis. He uses the Resource Zone as a secondary hand by playing cards from it. When his health is 15 or less, it gets to play cards from Resource Zone for 2 less blue. It also has 2 cards for it that ramps your Resource Zone, letting you play higher cost cards faster. 2 glaring issues with the contender. The contender has no built-in draw, and it's also susceptible to aggro since you're using your early turns to cast ramp spells. Its pros though, it has access to turn 2 ramp that can't be countered, unlike Haven that can easily be sharpshootered. And he can also play cards from Resource Zone, like I said. So cards that you played early for resource, you can play them later in your turn, later in the game. The meta has a lot of strategies right now. Torque with its combo plays bursting damage. Kagan stalling to complete all of its weapons and bring out Crimson Dragon. Warcry with GP Chicago and Flare, legendary, still relevant. War with its super aggro alphas. And Krung with all of its annoying trap cards. With such a diverse meta, I started experimenting on a list that at least has some answers to every situation. Thankfully, green has everything and blue has the rest. So here's my deck profile for Green-Blue Genesis. For the core of the deck, we have 4 I Am Creation. This is a 3-cost action card that costs 1 less if your contender is Genesis. When played, it adds the top card of your deck to your Resource Zone engage. 3. Changing Plans. This is a 4-cost clash card. When defeated, gets added to your Resource Zone engage. For spot removal, we're playing 4 Infectious. On enter, it gives a clash card, -2/-2, and then if the portal is closed, you have to discard a card. So make sure the portal is open before you play it. 3 Plague Bringers. So this on enter gives -3/-3 to target clash card. And then 4 Kagats on enter sends target clash card to Oblivion. For board wipe, we have 3 Shocking Revelations. When played, it lets you look at your opponent's hand and sends a card to the bottom of the deck. Then it makes your opponents send all of their clash card to Oblivion until they have the same number of clash cards as you. If the portal's open, you get to draw a card or ramp a card from hand. For accessory removal, we have 3 Tyrant. And since they decided to print interfering with the process, we're also running 3 Magnets Plan to remove it. For beaters and card draw, we're running 3 Awakened Breaker and 3 Devious Servant. Trigger attack, you draw a card. And our clash buff, Augmented Reality. So we're mainly using this for its first effect. Clash cards target player controls get +2 defense until end of turn. Then that player draws 2 cards. For Clash Grounds, we have 3 Amazon Rainforest as our main Clash Ground removal. And then 2 Wasteland to sustain our removals during the late game, though it hardly comes up. We're also running 3 Scheming Strategists. So if the portal's open, it negates all trigger attack during your opponent's turn. So this is very annoying for War and Warcry especially, since their contender ability has or gives trigger attack. To sustain our health during neck-to-neck games, we're running 2 Disrupting Presence. So this is a quick action, counterattack, prevent all clash damage that would be dealt during this clash. And then if your contender is a Genesis, target clash card you don't control loses all card effects and abilities until end of turn. We're also running 2 Oppressors. So trigger enter. If it was played from resource zone, you can ready up to 2 resource you control. And then it has a counter attack where you can engage X number of blue resource and to prevent X number of damage. And then same with the counterplay, you can engage any number of resource to prevent any X amount of non-clash damage. And for our legendary, we're running 1 Genesis the Inevitable. For the sideboard, since to counter Torque and aggro decks, I'm running 3 Magnet's Trap. So this is a trap on counter attack, since attacking clash card that costs 2 or less to Oblivion and then makes your opponent discard a card. If your locals or your meta is very Torque heavy, you can also consider running Cybernetic Recall. So it's Cybernetic Recall is a quick action. Counterplay, return all clash cards with initial resource costs of 1 or less to owner's hand. So this actually counters the Torque Boom combo. So if your opponent has one or more Torque the Uncontrollable, when they play Boom, you can spring this action card on them. So this recall bounces all of their 1-cost Torque, leaving only the Boom. I'm also running 3 Gotcha counter trap for Krong and other trap heavy decks. And then Diminishing Might. This is Genesis contender weapon. When attached, your contender gets the following ability. Once per turn during your primary phase, you may pay 3 blue resource. If you do, each opposing contender loses all effects and abilities until the start of your next turn. So this is very useful against mirror matches and against Kagan as well. Since you're removing their contender ability, you can prevent them from fetching their contender weapons from Oblivion or drawing a bunch of cards. And for our last card in our sideboard, we're running 1 Disrupting Presence to add to our sustain. For the mulligan of the deck, always looking for I Am Creation, going first or going second. So if you don't find it in the first 8 cards, shuffle your whole hand back to the deck. But if you find at least 1 copy of I Am Creation, if you already have I Am Creation, next card you should be looking for is Changing Plans and then Devious Servant. Both are beaters and really good going first. But if you're going second, you can look for either of these 2 and as well as Plaguebringer. On turn 3, if you ramp, if your opponent has a blocker, Plaguebringer is more ideal to play because it can remove the blocker and attack at the same time. Aside from these 4, you can also keep a Clash buff. And then if you're against decks that are heavy into the Clash Ground strategy, you can look for your Clash Ground removal like Amazon Rainforest. And then if you're against War or Warcry, you're also prioritizing to look for scheming strategies to disrupt their game plan. So these are mainly the 7 cards that you'll be looking for in your mulligan. Sonoro is also a good option if you're looking for your turn 5 play. I think Blue-Green Genesis is a top contender for set 4 meta since it has a little bit of everything. It has ramp, spot removal, board wipe, accessory hate, draw power, and damage sustain. And even against aggro decks, it has anti-aggro, anti-trap, And then we also have the contender weapon that removes your opponent's abilities. So I'm very excited to actually play this and test it more in our locals. So yeah, that's it for this deck profile. Like and subscribe.